Om Namah Shivaya. This is Arsonist Fire. I'm here on the way of Dharma. Today we'll be discussing a very interesting topic from one of the book collections of Gallery of the Magic. But first, before we continue, the Way of Dharma is a channel whereby we share spiritual concepts. We have good vibrations and good vibrational conversations. Among the topics that we discuss are African spirituality, Western magical concepts, Sanatana Dharma, which is Hinduism, and Dharma as a whole. You'll be hearing mantras and many other spiritual tools that will help you on your spiritual journey. So before you continue, please like, share, and subscribe to make sure that we spread the word. I'd like to wish peace to each and every one of you, and I'd like to thank you for commenting and supporting the channel in its early stages of development, of course. Before we go further, let me tell you of the stories that I've heard from a few various groups on Facebook, where we were talking about the experience of the book Demons of Magic by Gordon Winterfeld. Some of the stories intrigued me. There was one person who commented that they did a ritual of summoning one of the goetic spirits, and then yes, I think it's here, yes, and then they could smell the smell of something rotting, and they could sense a presence, and it was it felt so real, yes, to a point whereby what happened, or it scared them, yes, to a point whereby they felt scared because it was such an experience. Okay, speaking of such experiences, I remember of my experience during the first stages of my Luciferian practice. There's a ritual that you do on the second, it's the third or fourth ritual from the book Beginning of Luciferian Magic. That book is the beginner's guide to Luciferianism, and it has a few initiation rites to it. So on that fourth or third ritual, it's the ritual of infernal union. You are supposed to unite the current or the energy of Samael with the energy of Lilith. So uniting these two forces in sexual union. I had an experience whereby I was busy with a banishing, and then as I opened the gates of hell, the so-called subconscious mind, it felt like something was knocking over me like that, It felt like I was being possessed by something, basically. But it wasn't a full possession as you would see in the voodoo rites and some of the Hinduism rituals. Yes, you do have people that get possessed in Hinduism, but it wasn't similar to that. It was like an evocation, basically. So something knocked and went inside of me that I felt at that time, and the months that went by afterwards, I was having an imbalance basically in my mind. I was craving sex, and I was basically enveloped by bad luck. I wasn't as attractive as I was before I started the ritual things, and my life was basically a mess. Even at those times, I almost made a very terrible mistake of impregnating somebody who was not the right person for me, basically. And it was a very early stage in my development. I'm not sure if I'm an adult now. I'm not sure I am, but yeah, I was in my early 20s basically, so I almost made some terrible mistakes because of that. So it's just there to caution you to approach with caution. I remember advising one of my Facebook friends who wanted to summon demons basically, and then I told them that they should go slow on this because of my experience. But then with the neophyte who's excited about the demonic stories, the interesting stories of those black magician occultists from the left hand path, with those such stories, the neophyte doesn't want to listen to the advice of the so-called right hand practitioner. So they wouldn't listen to me, and then I think he got banned because now he's coming back with stories of the tetragrammaton. The tetragrammaton is another name for Yahweh, basically. Yahweh, Jehovah, H, no, it's YHVH, basically. Yod He Va He. I don't know, for some reason those Western guys find the name of Jehovah or Yahweh to be high and exalted to a point whereby they can't utter it straight, basically. They can't utter it up front, so they have to hide behind terms like tetragrammaton and stuff. What happens is each and every spirit is inside of us. It's inside of our DNA. It is captured. It's an aspect of ourselves, because some of the spirits were actually living human beings and they were our ancestors, and some of them, they are our children, basically. So they've raised their vibration to a certain level of spiritual hierarchy to become spirits. So everything is within us. So worshipping tetragrammaton as something which is outside of you, it's actually a form of Christianity, but at the early stage of occultism, basically. So tetragrammaton is just that, Yahweh. So we do have such aspects of Yahweh and Jehovah in our genetic makeup, basically. So now let's go into the topic. Oh yes, I was warning and cautioning you against working with demonic spirits. Guys, let me get something clear to you now, right? So when the Christian missionaries said that our ancestors are demons, and some of the spirits that were being worshipped in ancient times were demons, okay, for the ancestral part, it may be true, basically. A demon is not something like Belial. A demon is not something like King Paimon. A demon is not something like Baal or Tiamat or all those spirits that were venerated in ancient times, basically. To be venerated to that certain hierarchy, you have to have some sort of spiritual power, basically. You understand? So also Seth from the Egyptian pantheon is not a demon, basically. Seth, pre-dynastic Egypt, was venerating Seth, basically. So Seth is a form of deity, and all those that I've mentioned, the Tiamat, the Pazuzu, all those spirits from the Sumerian pantheon, basically, those guys are not demons, basically, because you can go to them and ask for rain and ask for love and stuff, you understand? So the demon doesn't actually have, okay, they might have that power, but as we have spoken, they will only give you results that are of a low quality, and they will give you bad luck results, basically. So those deities that were venerated, the ones that you see shrines of, the ones that you see statues of or murtis of, those guys are not demons, basically. Demons are lower, slightly lower than human beings, basically. Their consciousness is low. Demons are ancestral spirits who have never reached the same level of development as the current human being. Basically, the human being is actually higher in vibration than the demon, natural, basically. So, and only to become a demon, the possibility of becoming a demon is only possible to the human being, basically. Do you know why? Because as a human being, as you live, karma can either take you forward, your actions basically can either take you forward or devolve you. So when you are in a state of devolution, you become a demon, you become demonic basically. So that's what a demon is. Some of our ancestors are actually demons. If you have an ancestor who is against vibrating higher, evolution and enlightenment, I don't know if I want to put it under enlightenment basically, but development of consciousness, yes, let's say development of consciousness. Any spirit, human spirit who is against human development, who's against raising vibration, who likes death and the current, not death in the form of dying basically, but death in the form of devaluing basically. So that being would be regarded as a demon because they are in the back of the spiritual evolution. So that's what a demon is. When you come across spirits like King Paimon, they have legends basically. So it's a deity of a certain office that has legends after it. If you are King Paimon and then you know your spiritual hierarchy, would you like to be commanded by a human being who's just started as a neophyte in occultism basically? Would you like to be commanded by them? You wouldn't, even if you liked, but their energy isn't that powerful to command you basically. So what do? You send those legends, which are the actual demons, the low vibrating spirits. They will go and work for you basically. Those spirits are unruly because they are untrustworthy. They were not even committed to evolving themselves as humans. They were not even they have a tamasic mind basically. They are of a low vibration, so they are unruly. Only a spirit such as King Paimon can actually rule them. Or when you want to torture them with things like salt and threaten them with words like tetragrammaton, that's only when you will be actually able to control and manipulate their energy to actually get their things manifest for you basically. But it's not a good relationship. Imagine having a friend whereby you have to manipulate them each and every time you want something out of them. You'd have to maintain frame, and maintaining frame all the time is tiring because sometimes you may be vulnerable, and what will happen when you are vulnerable? Your friend will use that against you and will actually use it to conquer you. So working with such low level entities will leave you vulnerable, and it might actually ruin you as an occultist. So let's go into the original topic of this video. The original topic, I'll be reviewing the book of Masterworks of Chaos by who? By Adam Blackthorne from the group The Gallery of Magic. It's a very, very beautiful book on chaos magic basically. Yes, chaos magic. I also spoke of it when I was talking about the book review in a live stream by Ellen Chapman basically. So now we're talking about Adam Blackthorne. I have spoken of Adam Blackthorne's book before on this channel when I was doing the spiritual summoning live stream basically. But today we're going further deeper basically, and I will be talking about my experiences basically. So stay tuned and listen carefully. Masterworks of Chaos Magic it demystifies and decodes most of the mystifications of magic or surrounding the occult topics. Basically, it brings magic practice and occult concepts to the level of somebody who is a neophyte. It makes you understand it quite clearly. It explains the secrets or the significance behind such practices, basically. And what are those? The practice of magic is there to only convince your mind to actually be able to send out thought to the universe to make it come back and actually manifest the things that you want. Among the techniques that you find in the Masterworks of Chaos, there's a very, very powerful yet underrated form of magical practice. What is that form of magical practice? The practice of thought forms. Now, I didn't go deeper into it regarding my practice on thought forms. However, I've realized that it's a very, very powerful thing. There's a book, Magical Servitors by Damon Brand. I've reviewed it before here on the channel. It had very wonderful results, but I find that thought forms were actually more powerful than those servitors. Why do I think so? Servitors need to be fed at least once or twice a week, or even every day. When you stop feeding them, their power dissipates. However, with a thought form, the thought form, when you pay attention to it, even like for few seconds, when you think of that thought form, you acknowledge its presence, it grows in power. And the results you get from a thought form, it's actually more intelligent than the servitor. The servitor, when you create it, you limit it to a certain criteria of office, basically. Let's say maybe you want money. You will say that you want unexpected sources of money, and then you mention two more things or a few more things, because the more you put in more intent to it, what will happen? The power gets dissipated and it becomes a confused being, basically. But in the case of thought forms, a thought form is very powerful because you can just create a thought form of prosperity. The nature of a thought form, it's a thought that has form, basically. And what is the characteristic of thought, as we've spoken on this channel? The characteristic of thought is to seek expression, and also after seeking expression, coming back to the original creator with like thoughts. So when you create a thought form of prosperity, it will attract to you the ways to attract prosperity. It will attract you, it will attract to you the hidden sources of income. It will attract to you the ideas and many other thoughts which are surrounding the subject of prosperity, basically. Whereas with the prosperity servitor, you'd be looking at few things that you had actually mentioned when you created that thing. A thought form is a very, very intelligent being, basically. It's a very, very intelligent and effective tool in magical practice. It's underrated. You should go deeper into it. And where do we start? You start with the book, The Masterworks of Chaos Magic by Adam Blackthorne, basically. Very, very powerful technique. What did I do? Okay, man, let me confess to everyone. I like girls, okay? So I had an experiment of creating a thought form of attracting girls to me, basically. I don't think it's dead now. Okay, now that I acknowledge it, I think it's coming back now. I did the thought form for girls and the thought form for money. I had synchronicities whereby I found myself in opportunities having girls. And funny thing, during that year, it wasn't the year of 2020 basically. Towards the end of the year, I came across, okay, this is what I knew even before thought forms. There's a group on YouTube, they call themselves PUA, Pickup Artists. Yes, I suddenly had an interest in women, and then after having an interest in women, I went back to actually watch the Pickup Artists, and I managed to get like 5 girlfriends at that time basically. So I was also active in picking up girls basically. So that's the effectiveness of these thought forms. Also in that book, there's a technique of using the eye to project whatever intent or whatever influence that you wanted to project on a female. The practice of gazing at someone and sending vibrations to them is a very, very powerful art. This one, I've never had many experiences with it, but I can say that I have instances. Yes, I had an instance even before occultism basically. Using the eye technique is very, very powerful. There was one female when I was in high school. I didn't do anything. I basically went to them and I looked deep into their eyes, and then my pupils dilated. When they dilated, it's like something, a window was opened basically. So I had a connection. It felt like, you understand, a connection. What do you call it? Bluetooth connection. Yes, a connection. It felt like it, a force attracting us towards each other, and I could feel the energy of desire. I could feel the connection basically. I didn't say anything, and I was with someone. Out of nowhere, not out of nowhere, man. We do know the cause of this. So I stared into the girl's eyes. I gazed into them, and then when the person that I was with came in front of me to actually greet her, because they knew that he knew that female. Yes, so we had him in common as our friend in common. So he came in front of me to greet him, and then this female suddenly pushed him out of the way and said, "Wait, you have to introduce me to your friend." And then, oh man, I don't know what happened. She was so entranced and enchanted by me. But then the next day, I couldn't savor the moment. I couldn't savor the moment. I had no influence over her. It just fell apart. The attraction just fell apart. Like it took a 180-degree turn, which is something I've noticed in some of my relationships, whereby I use the occult means to actually obtain the female. Like the relationship sometimes goes into thin air just like that. It disappears, like, and it's so sudden basically. So I think it goes back to this practice of gazing and using the eye to actually make that person feel your feelings basically. So it's a very, very powerful technique. But the next day I couldn't savor the moment. I wish I was faster and I had took her back and I'd savor her. I'd be talking a different story now. But yes, it does work. The eye technique does work. There's a summoning spirit ritual that you get over here. There's a summon spirit ritual that you get over there. I've worked with Hagith. I've worked with, is it Aratron? I've worked with Hagith. I've worked with Ophiel. I've worked with, what's that guy, that spirit of Jupiter? Yes, there's a spirit of Jupiter from the Olympiad Olympic spirits. Yes, you also get the sigil of the spirit in the book by Blackthorne, Masterworks of Chaos Magic. Basically, I've worked with that guy, the Jupiter spirit. So what happened during that time? I could okay, I was doing a ritual with Hagith to attract love, basically. So it was that ritual with Hagith. It was the thought forms, basically. So I was using it to the thought forms. I was using it to become more of a mech, more of a player, more of a ladies man. And then with Hagith, I was using it to try and find love, basically, which I got a girlfriend. I got a girlfriend. She had a kid. Yeah, man. You know, getting girls with kids, man. It's not the cool thing. I will not say more, basically. So yes, I did end up getting a girlfriend with Hagith, and then I did end up developing my skills of talking to women and becoming more of a mech, basically. So with Hagith, I got my results, and I actually did a thank you post on Facebook. Thank you, Hagith, for that. Yes. So the ritual that I used, basically, is the summoning ritual that you get from the Masterworks of Chaos. So there's a sigil. You focus on a sigil. It has a step. When you go into the book, you'll definitely see those steps. So there's a sigil. You mention whatever divine name that you feel gives you power to actually summon that spirit. By the power of Tetragrammaton, I call onto you. And then you say the spirit's name 3 times as if you are calling a friend. You will suddenly feel a presence. And then you can also use another name. By the name of Shiva Mahadeva Mahadevaya, I call on you, Hagith. And then you call on the spirit's name 3 times till you feel a presence, basically. And then it will basically do that. And then make sure that it will show you how to write your intent. It's a short line. It may be a sentence. It may be 2, depending on your wording, basically. So it's a very, very easy method. After doing that, you thank them, and then you send them their way, and then they get to go out and actually do the results. I've had very, very beautiful spirits, not spirits. I've had very, very beautiful results when I was using that method, basically. I also remember doing a DIY rite, a wealth rite, basically. Yes, DIY wealth and prestige rite. I didn't actually do like they were showing us, like J.S. Garrett and Bobby were showing us in the video. I didn't do it that way. I used the method from the Masterworks of Chaos. Now let's talk about that experience when I was summoning Suntalok. Suntalok, they say, is a demon from the Legion of Azazel, basically. So now, yes, it is a demon. This one is a demon because they come from Azazel's Legion, basically. So they say that Suntal Ok can actually help you to build an empire out of nothing, because Suntal Ok was one of the builders of Azazel's empire, as they say. Very nice story, eh? But then I did a summoning wealth and prestige ritual. Ah, man, you see now. Yes, a wealth and prestige ritual using that method, basically. So I don't know if it worked, but after that I did have some synchronicities that were enough to actually convince me that it worked, basically. So now let's talk about my experiences with Suntal Ok. I did a first summoning ritual. Okay, what is this? Oh, yeah. I did a first summoning ritual using that method, and then I called on Suntal Og. I asked him to help me with that. I think Suntal Og, man, has the energy of Jupiter. I'll talk about the energy of Jupiter just now. So I called Suntal Og, and I've heard that demons like the offerings of nails and hair, basically. So it is said that to actually build a relationship with Lilith, you have to offer them such nails, hair, and seminal fluid basically. So they actually use it to create more druj, which are these demons that we are talking about, and the succubus and the incubus. It's incubi and succubi. So it gives them the ability to actually create such a nation. So I did the ritual, I did my intent, and I summoned Suntal Og. After summoning Suntal Og, I did an offering. After doing an offering, and then I told Suntal Og to leave. One of the things that J.S. Garrett said in his collaboration when he was talking about when he was talking on the channel about the wealth and prestige, right? He was doing that interview with E.A. Coeting, basically. So they were doing that interview, and then he was telling him about Suntal Og. So one of the things that were true about Suntal Og is that Suntal Og doesn't like cameras, and this is true. When I did the ritual, I took my phone. After taking my phone, I opened it up, and then I took a video of the offerings burning. Now, if you have common sense, basically, man, if you have common sense, let's say common sense, because if I say if you can read candle flame, the next thing you'll be doing, you'll be DMing me on Facebook. Hey, I have a picture of this candle flame or this offering flame. What does it mean? I do not know anything. But common sense says that fire I took a video of when I was doing the Suntal Og ritual. Definitely something was happening over there. So I gave Suntal Og my hair and my nails. Yes, in a paper. So I did it in an incense. What do you call that incense there? You see those Catholic incense burner, yes. Incense burner. So I put the hair and the nails in the incense burner and offered it to Suntal Og. It burned in a way that showed that Suntal Og was there, and I actually filled Suntal Og on my third eye open. On my third eye, basically. And I tried to take a video on my WhatsApp status. Yes, I did. And then when I took the video, I took it, and then it was complete. And then when it was now time to actually share the WhatsApp status, there was a certain jamming of frequency, man. You know, my phone froze, basically. It froze, and then when it froze, I couldn't view statuses anymore. I couldn't upload statuses anymore. You might call it story. Yes, WhatsApp story. Yes, WhatsApp. Let's say WhatsApp story. But then it writes status update, man. You know these things, man. So I couldn't view WhatsApp stories. I couldn't share WhatsApp stories for like 2 weeks, basically. I was scared, thinking that my phone was broken in a way. I couldn't use it in that way. So that was the last time I actually filmed a ritual with Suntal Og. The second time, okay, now I'm speaking of Suntal Og now. But yes, you do get my point. There's summoning ritual that you can I'll talk about my experiences with Suntal Og. Yes, I'll talk about the synchronicities. I'll actually talk about it when I'm talking about demons. I'll try to do a short video talking about my experiences with Suntalog. I think it'll attract more people to the channel. Okay, let's continue. So the results that I got from that ritual of Suntalog were actually from a method that I learned in this book. My spiritual summoning, when I want to do a spiritual summoning or an evocation, the method that I use is actually the one that you get from the Masterworks of Chaos. It hasn't failed me, and it is always working. Basically, you will feel the spirit's presence. You will definitely feel it. I even did a Suntalog ritual when I was with someone. The wedding, yes, I actually did a full summoning spirit ritual when I was with someone just after doing the homam. I used to have homam and chants around the fire with people, with a friend basically. So I did a Suntalog ritual. I was able to feel Suntalog's presence, even in the presence of that friend. It was last year, and when you look back to my previous year, last year, check the track record. Man, I was so fortunate, man. I made so much money. Like, fortune was following me everywhere and anywhere. So these things do actually work. They do actually work. And I was able to feel the presence of Suntalog even in the presence of that person. Man, I even felt dizzy in a sort of like trance. But guys, approach demons with caution. If you are not sure of yourself, if you're not sure of your power, if you're still evoking powers like Tetragrammaton to actually bind these spirits, you are not ready. They will nyam you. But I've decided to go out of demonic practice and such association with such spirits because I don't want to get nyammed. Basically. I'm trying to go ahead and ascend, so I can't afford being nyammed. Yes. So another method from the book Masterworks of Chaos. What is it? Oh yes, they talk about the method of sigils. And also there's a method. Yes, he also talks about gnosis. Basically, there's a method that they call gnosis, going into trance. He explains the different types of trances, different ways you can go into this trance to actually charge your sigils. Very, very beautiful book, man. Very, very beautiful book. Talks of those methods, talks of how to create sigils, and talks of what else? Talks of amplifying the magic of the sigil, putting energy inside of that sigil and putting more energy into the spell that you would be casting. Any spell or ritual, basically. You will find the thing in the Masterworks of Chaos Magic by Adam Blackthorne. Guys, I'd like to thank you for tuning in to the Way of Dharma. I'd like to thank you all for the beautiful comments that you send. You know, it's a very, very, very fascinating psychological thing that I've realized. I get so many heartfelt and beautiful comments, and I get very, very few rude and nasty comments, but for some stupid reason I focus on the negativity more than the positivity. So today I'd like to acknowledge you guys for all the positivity that you've been showing me, the love that you've been showing me on this channel, the comments and everything beautiful. You are the reason why there is the Way of Dharma. You are the reason why I'm sharing. So I shouldn't focus on the negative people that like to troll, basically. Recently there's a guy who was talking about religion on my previous video, Mahakali. So this guy, I don't know what's pushing him to do that behavior. I do not know. Clearly you see that he has a problem of some sort, because he even not attacked fighting. He said something rude to one of the people that were commenting and actually asking for help on that Mahakali video. So I removed his comments. Such people, I'll remove those comments from the comment section of the Way of Dharma. So today I'm only thanking you guys for the beautiful messages, for the beautiful support that you've been showing me and love. What more can I ask for if I have you guys that are backing me? Those funny and nasty guys, I really don't know what to say about them or to them, by them. So thank you guys. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Namaste. Let's close this with a chant of peace. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Update, guys, there was a video collaboration that I was supposed to do with AFA for like 2 weeks. I haven't been consistent with collaborations. I'm experiencing network problems, but as soon as this thing passes, I'll be able to do weekly collaborations with Afro Scientific Spirituality. So soon we'll be doing our things, doing what we do best. This is Asten's Fire from the Way of Dharma. I wish you peace. And there's some people who even don't like the fact that I'm reading from a phone. All I have to say is Tamasic Mind, Tamasic Mind, Tamasic Mind. We are no more reading the books. We are now reading from the smartphone. The books are called e-books. If you can't comprehend the fact that we are reading from e-books, Tamasic Mind. Om Shanti.